as everybody know, my father's life was music. That's right. And I always, whenever I visit him at the nursing home, I'd always play 10 songs every time I visited him. And put the earphone in his ear, and we'd have our 10-song playlist. My father loved the music. Some of his favorite groups was The Temptations, Jerry Butler, Benny King, Solomon Burke, Full Force. Did I say Full Force? and his favorite song before he passed away was For Your Precious Love by Jerry Butler. And he also loved The Temptations as well. But Dad's life was music, okay? He taught the three of us when we were little how to sing. Then my Uncle Cito came in to help and made us a group with Dad overseeing him, and we became the group The Amplifiers, the three of us. And then my father had my mother make our outfits. My mother and her mother, my Granny Mancia, that's her in the picture with my father and myself, and they would sew our clothes and make our outfits. And then when we became Full Force with our cousins, Baby Jerry, Cha-Cha, and Kurt, Steve Salem, a friend of mine from college, a very dear friend of mine, he came in to help my pops, and he became our co-manager, and he was the one responsible for Full Force becoming writers and producers. So right now, Steve is up in heaven, and I'm sure when my father went up to heaven, there was Steve to greet him with a kiss on the cheek and nothing but love. So anyway, those four are the conduits in our musical life. My father, our Uncle Cito, my mother, and Steve Salem. So I just want to show you a little bit of some excerpts of that little history right now.
Full Force has always been a family affair. The three brothers who started the group, Lucian, Paul, and Brian George, grew up in Brooklyn in a home filled with music.
That's all Dad talked about. He would always intermingle any conversation with the singing and the music. It was in his blood, and he just passed it down to us. It was just natural.
Their parents, Carmen and Lucian George Sr., moved to Brooklyn from the West Indies. Lucian was a singer who vowed that his sons would one day follow in his footsteps.
I used to get a tape and listen to the tape and play it back and then tell them, sing behind the tape. I used to sing behind the tape. And that's how to get in the groove.
We didn't have real microphones at the time. We used to practice sort of like a vacuum cleaner that had sort of like a mic thing. That was like the center mic, you know what I mean? And we would all perform there.
My father made me practice. Otherwise, he'd whip my ass. He'd say, no, you're gonna sing or you do nothing else. So I guess I would sing.
The only person I had trouble with was my youngest son because he was just young, you know. But he was still good. He had a good voice and everything. One day I was lying on the bed in my house, and I heard my son Paul singing in the bathroom. So I told his mother, I says, that boy got a voice. So I said, maybe I can work with him too. And about 2 weeks after, my oldest son, he was kind of jealous because I was working with Paul, so he wanted to sing too. So he said, Daddy, I want to sing. So then I pulled him in, and I started working with him. And then I turned back and reached out for my youngest son, which everybody was saying he was too young to sing. He was only 8 years old. But that was Brian. But what about him? After teaching to sing and whatnot, we doing in the shows, he always was good like his brothers. They never take nothing from him because he holds his own.
As 8 to 10-year-olds, the three brothers began singing and performing for money outside Harlem's Apollo Theater, and soon made their way inside as well.
When the kids go out there to perform, they perform. They are serious when they get out there.
Cito was the one that really started prepping them. He bought them an outfit and got them into the Apollo Theater. They performed there and they won 4 times in a row.
By the late 70s, the three younger cousins, Jerry, Kurt, and Shy Shy, had picked up instruments and joined the group. Now 6 members strong, they came up with the name Full Force. Meanwhile, a friend of Lou's named Steve Salem became the band's co-manager and pushed the group to produce and perform for other artists.
At that time, there was no group writing and producing for anybody. Steve Salem told us, y'all do that, then Full Force will get recognized and get a deal of his own.